I caught my boyfriend cheating. But what I discovered next broke me even more. True story. I remember the moment so vividly, like it happened just yesterday. As I sat in my car, staring at Mike on the porch with that girl, I was paralyzed. I couldn't move. My hands were shaking, my heart was racing, and my mind was spinning with a million questions. Who was she? How long had this been going on? Was this the first time, or were there others? I could feel my stomach twist as I watched her laugh and lean into him, brushing his arm like she had done it 100 times before. And the worst part? He looked happy. Happier than he'd looked around me in a long time. I wanted to be angry, to yell, to scream. But instead, I just felt hollow. I waited in my car, hoping I'd wake up and realize it was all a bad dream. I couldn't even bring myself to confront him right then. What would I even say? I drove away, trying to convince myself that maybe I was just seeing things, or that there was some kind of explanation. But deep down, I knew there wasn't. I knew what I saw. That night, I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw them together, her laughing, him looking at her in a way I thought was reserved just for me. I kept replaying every moment in my head, every little sign I had ignored, every time he'd acted distant or secretive. Suddenly, it all made sense, and yet I still couldn't believe it. The next morning, I decided I needed answers. I was terrified of what I'd find, but I couldn't go on pretending like nothing had happened. I had to know. So when Mike left his phone in the kitchen while he went to shower, I did something I never thought I'd do. I opened it. I know it's wrong, but I had to see for myself. As I scrolled through his messages, my heart sank. There they were, hundreds of messages between him and this girl, whose name, it turned out, was Sarah. Flirty messages, late-night texts, even photos. I read conversations they had about their little dates and inside jokes. They'd been seeing each other for months, and he'd been lying to my face the whole time. The messages revealed a side of him I had never seen before. Sweet, caring, romantic, but not with me. He was giving her all the love and attention he used to give me. It was like I didn't even exist in his life anymore. I put his phone down, my hands trembling, and I felt this wave of sadness wash over me. When he got out of the shower, he acted like everything was normal, like nothing had happened. I couldn't stand it. But instead of confronting him right then, I decided I needed a bit more time. I wanted to be calm, to think it through, to understand what I really wanted to say. Over the next few days, I found myself obsessively checking his messages, reading every detail of their relationship. It was like I couldn't help myself. I needed to know everything, every secret, every lie, every moment he had shared with her instead of me. It was painful, but somehow I felt like I deserved to know the truth. Then, one evening, I went over to his apartment, determined to confront him. I walked in, clutching those earrings I had found in his coat pocket like they were my lifeline. My mind was racing, my heart pounding as I waited for him to come home. When he finally walked through the door, I looked him right in the eyes, holding the earrings up. He knew. He knew there was no hiding it anymore. I asked him how he could do this to me, how he could betray me like that after everything we had been through together. And for the first time, he didn't have any excuses. He looked at me, his face full of regret, and said, "I'm sorry. I messed up." But that wasn't enough. I needed to know why. I needed to understand what I had done wrong, what had pushed him away, what had made him turn to someone else. But his answers were vague, unsatisfying. He tried to tell me it wasn't about me, that it was his mistake, that he had gotten caught up and didn't know how to get out. But I couldn't help but feel like it was something I had done. I sat there, staring at him, trying to see the man I thought I loved. But all I could see was a stranger. Someone who had lied to me, who had gone behind my back, who had taken everything we had and thrown it away like it meant nothing. The worst part? I wanted to forgive him. I wanted to believe that we could fix things, that he could change, that we could go back to the way things used to be. But deep down, I knew it was impossible. As I left that night, he called after me, begging me to stay, to give him another chance. But I couldn't bring myself to look back. I walked out of his life feeling like a part of me had been ripped away. But somehow, I knew it was the right thing to do. I knew I deserved better, even if it hurt. It's been weeks since that night, and I'm still trying to piece myself back together. Some days, I feel strong, like I made the right decision. But other days, I miss him. I miss the way things used to be, the way he made me feel safe and loved. But I know that was just a lie, a fantasy I had built up in my mind. People tell me I'm better off without him, that I'll find someone who truly values me. And maybe they're right. But right now, all I can feel is the emptiness he left behind. I'm trying to move on, to find myself again, to remember who I was before he came into my life. It's hard, but I'm slowly getting there. In the end, I know I'll be okay. I know I'll find someone who loves me for who I am, who won't betray my trust, who will treat me the way I deserve. But until then, I'm just taking things one day at a time, hoping that someday the pain will fade, and I'll be able to look back on this and see it as a lesson. A lesson in love, in trust, and in knowing my own worth. Thank you for listening. If this story kept you on the edge of your seat, make sure to hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. We bring you real stories that dive deep into the highs, lows, and everything in between. If you enjoyed this, subscribe to Reddit Rewind for more gripping stories and weekly doses of drama, suspense, and relatable moments. See you in the next one.